Hi, welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT, or you can refer to me as Miss T. And let's turn to. Welcome back. Okay, we got a little bit of news today. Most things I'm going to give you the boxing schedule at the end of the program, but just some little bit of news. I have to touch on Oscar Valdez. He's a fighter with top rank, and he is set to fight on the September 10th card that Top Rank is putting on. And in my caption, I asked, was he a cheater or was he not? And he's a WBC featherweight champion, and he got caught with PEDs or banned substance. Now, as you guys know how I feel about cheaters in boxing, I really don't like them. I don't give them excuses. I don't give them passes, but they're out there and they're still committing infractions with no care. And the reason why they don't care because the penalties aren't stiff enough. You know, if they were a little bit more stiff, then maybe they wouldn't do it. But then I think if they were too stiff, the people who would pay for that would be the people who are could be innocently caught off guard or caught into something of no fault of their own. I'm not saying that you can't accidentally consume something that had banned substances in it and you didn't know it. But sometimes, most of this stuff, they know it. Oscar Valdez works with Reynoso, the guy who trains Canelo. And, I live by those old cliches. I don't know about you guys, but I do. Birds of a feather flock together. Y'all remember that? Birds of a feather flocks together. Like you couldn't be in my circle and being no super criminal. And what I mean by super criminal is doing, like breaking in people's houses or killing folks and stuff like that. You couldn't be in my circle. There's no way I could tolerate you around me every day. But to a person that probably thought of doing it or actually does that type of activity, that wouldn't be a big deal to have somebody like that in their circle. And that's why I say birds of a feather flocks together. There's no other way to look at that. Canelo, as we know, and I'm gonna stay on his ass. Canelo, as we know, got caught with clenbuterol. I think I'm saying it right. Maybe I'm not, but a banned substance in his uh, through the test that VADA gives. So in his system. So he blamed it on some meat consumption that he might have eaten while he was in Mexico. And you know, it's a little too late because Mexican fighters should know that sometimes in Mexico, because they don't have something like a Food and Drug Administration, I don't know what they have. I don't know if they have the equivalent to that, but it's not like here. So some things can slip through the crack. Mexican fighters been knew decades before Canelo that you should be careful when consuming meat in Mexico because those things can happen. So for Canelo to say he made that mistake, I wasn't buying it because one, he has enough money. The money that he makes here in the States, when he goes over there in Mexico, you might as well say a triple amount because the price difference, the inflation of it all, or whatever. So he has enough money to own his own cow farm where he can get all the meat he wants packaged the way he wants and have his whole family stockpiled with meat. He don't have to fall victim to, hey, I was just eating at the corner little burger shop and they had it in their meat. But that's the bullshit he claimed. And he got away with it. And how did he get away with it? Because the the people that's in authority to give him a pass gave him a pass by saying, they raised the level of how much of the trace amounts he can have in his system. Therefore, he didn't fail a drug test. I don't agree with that. And I can see, and the reason why I brought up Canelo, because I know y'all saying you started off this with Oscar Valdez, but the reason why I brought up Canelo is because Oscar, trains and works for the same guy that trains Canelo. So they got to be training in the same facilities, and they around each other. That's why I say birds of a feather flock together. It doesn't. It's not lost on me that them two know each other, got the same trainer, and the same thing happens to both of them. So Oscar is trying to claim herbal tea for his past aggression. He's trying to say the herbal tea that he drank had phentermine in it. That's what he's trying to say, that it had phentermine in it. But we know that's not true. Sanctioned bodies, everybody in boxing know that that's not true. There's no phentermine in any kind of herbal tea. There's no phentermine in any kind of substance or supplements other than phentermine. If you buy phentermine, it'll be in, and if you buy it, it's its own thing. I don't know why I got tongue tied, but it's its own thing. So you're not gonna buy no multivitamin and then say, "Oh, it had phentermine in it." That's not gonna happen. They don't put it in substance supplements. I keep saying substance supplements. They don't put it in no herbal teas. Nothing. They don't do that. So that excuse is kind of whack. Which the fact that he even made that excuse makes him look even more guilty. You know, if you're gonna do something and you're gonna lie about some shit, make it look believable. Have some plausible deniability with your shit. He couldn't even do that. You gotta think these things ahead. You gotta think of worst case scenario. And I'm not trying to like educate nobody on how to cheat, but because you shouldn't cheat, period. But if you're gonna do it, think of worst case scenarios and have an answer for every worst case scenario. In which he did not. He did not have an answer for this worst case scenario. And worst case scenario is that they find out that he had banned substance in his system when VADA came around to test him. So what do? You didn't even think it out. But that's what he claims. And he's getting positive reinforcements from his attorney, Pat English. I don't know if that's a guy or a girl, but that person is saying that, yeah, it was in the herbal tea. Now they tested his A sample. They haven't gotten around to the B sample. And for those of you casuals who are not really familiar with boxing, the A sample, you always get an A and B sample. Just to make sure, it's like a double check type thing. Just to make sure if you take a test and it pops in your A sample, but it's not in your B sample, you know, then they probably do a whole new uh routine of tests or whatever. It's just a double check method. It's a method to make sure you saw what you saw. but more than likely, his B sample is going to be contaminated as well. So he's going to stick to the herbal tea thing. Now, if he changed his story, y'all already know what time it is. The world is sitting back and waiting to see what are they going to accept his excuse, or are they going to give him a pass? Are they going to let it go? This is what the world is waiting to see. What's going to happen? And then he was going to have a good fight. He was set to do a, have a real good matchup, beneficial to him, for him and his career, and he screwed it up. But if he gets that protection like Canelo gets, he didn't screw it up. He just made a oops. He made a oops. My bad. Because it's looking like they don't want to hold it against him, and he's a top ranked fighter. So he's with Bob Arum, and it's just funny. Like I said, birds of a feather flocks together. Say it with me. Birds of a feather flocks together, because Bob Arum in his day has been known to sidestep a couple of rules or something here and there, not pay attention to the rules or cheat or whatever you call it, get taken to court and all that for cheating. Bob Arum is known for that. It's not beyond the fray to think that Bob Arum wouldn't be, in conjunction with it. But when it comes to matters like this, sorry, unless you know the whole conspiracy of it all, you really got to just stick to the person at hand that you talk about, and that person is Oscar Valdez. You are the one that got to come up with some answers. You are the one that got some explaining to do. In my Ricky Ricardo voice, got some explaining to do. But that's what they want to say. They want to go along with that. Now, for people who don't know what phentermine is, it's a weight loss supplement. They do other stuff, but it's a weight loss supplement. And it does stuff like help you with energy and stamina, which is cheating when you're talking about boxing. How you know you the best when you got stamina for the whole 12 rounds, but you don't have stamina? That shit you took has stamina. It's not you per se doing anything. But take away that shit that you take, the phentermine or the banned substance. Do you have stamina to make it through 12 rounds? And the answer is more than likely no. So if you don't have the stamina to make it through 12 rounds, do you win a fight against somebody who does? The answer is no. Because when you get tired, you start making mistakes and you start swinging wild and you can't be patient and you start panicking. All of these things factor in whether or not you're going to win the contest or not, the match or not. All of those things play a role in deciding whether you're going to win your fight or not. That's why that shit is cheap. Because without the substance, you can't even hang for 12 rounds. And you can take this stuff and build stamina. So now you still in the fight. It's not really you. It's a pill you took or a shot you took. And also it gives you energy. So not only do you have stamina, you got energy. L Dub, I said it right, huh? Was Popping King. Not only do you have energy, but you got stamina. So now you're able to go the whole 12 rounds and possibly win, but it's not you, it's the stuff you took. And then you try to make up some BS talking about it was in the herbal tea. And people have come out and said that's bullshit, Alado. It's not in the herbal tea. It's not in the herbal tea. You're lying. You know, But again, let's say it together. Birds of a feather flock together. We got to start living by these old cliches. They meant something. Nobody just pulled them shits out their ass. They meant something. They meant something back in the day. That's to let you know if you peep game about somebody and they acting shady or moving kind of wrong in these streets, and then they were like, oh, here's my friend, or here's my ace coon, and they hanging with this person every day in and day out. You should say in your mind, well, I know that Tommy like to steal cars all the goddamn time, and them two motherfuckers hang out all day every day, even in the middle of the night. They always hanging out. Suffice to say that guy, his so-called friend, likes to steal cars too, because otherwise Tommy wouldn't give that much time a day to somebody who don't like to do what he do. Birds of a feather flock together. So Oscar Valdez works with Canelo's trainer Reynoso. Birds of a feather locking together. Oscar got popped for banned substance, and now you get popped for banned substance. So now we got to say, have you been doing this all along? What about all your other fights? I said this before in a video. If a judge 25 years into his career and he been on the bench, and we find out that the judge is corrupt and he pads people records, and he's for money, like getting people off or sending people to jail and this, that, and the other, and they find out, they will go back and review all this nigga's cases, all of them, and put them under a tight microscope and check to see if everything was done right. Were all the I's dotted? Were all the T's crossed? And if there is a slight mistake, I don't care how small, they got to release that person. And that's just how it is with judges. Why? Because if a judge doesn't wake up in the middle of his career and stop being corrupt, he always been corrupt. That's the consensus. Now, how do I correlate that back to boxing? You don't wake up in the middle of your career and start cheating. You always been cheating. You always been cheating. So, Oscar Valdez, I'm gonna have to give you that jacket to wear. You always been cheating. And that weak ass excuse of it being herbal tea, that just tells me right there that you know you cheating. It just confirms to me even more that you're a liar and you're a cheater. You can't be trusted. And whatever you got, like your record, his record is 29 and 0 losses, um, 23 KOs. So now that whole record to me is suspect. I can't put no credence into that record. I don't know what this man been doing all along. But like I said, it was his A sample. Now we have to wait on their B sample. And that will be coming momentarily. Probably by tonight or tomorrow, we'll find out. But don't forget, if y'all doing anything tomorrow, don't forget to watch the WBO uh, press conference of the purse bid for Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter, and it's gonna be on their webpage on Facebook. So, and it starts, I think, 10 p.m. No, I'm sorry, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the WBO's Facebook webpage, and you will get to see the purse bid. Who bids for them? Who don't? I just want to throw that in there. So ESPN is already reporting on Oscar Valdez and his debacle. He has put at risk his match against Robson Canseco. And they saying maybe it'll be at risk. They already trying to figure out a way for him to weasel out. They trying to see if how much of the trace amounts. If the trace amounts is enough to warrant them, you know, sticking it to them, or is the trace amount not enough to even call it cheating? What the hell you mean? If it don't supposed to be in your system, what the hell are we talking about trace amounts? You know, amphetamine can be in the category of diuretics. So, and from what I understand, amphetamine, it does not oops and mistakenly wind up in other substances like a supplement or herbal tea. It's not gonna be accidentally put in anything like milk or soda or anything. Phentermine is phentermine. You can only get it by prescription. If this guy has a prescription of phentermine, it sounds like to me that that could be a valid excuse. I don't know. I don't think it should be, but some one of the people that's involved in dealing with this man said, well, he was giving him no excuse. He said, well, you got a prescription. Let me see it. Like unasked the prescription so we can see it. Now, when I heard that or when I read that, I thought, they could actually pay a doctor off. Been done before. Yeah, you had the president of the United States do it. So pay a doctor off to give a diagnosis or even write a prescription. They can backlog. They could do stuff like that. I don't trust that. If it's a banned substance, it should not be in your body. No excuses. And like every time, how many times it got to happen before people say, you remember when Canelo had this problem? What Canelo couldn't look back and say, "Oh, I remember when this fighter or that fighter had this problem with eating meat that from Mexico. I better not eat that meat." And Oscar Valdez can't say to himself, "You know what? I better not do no herbal nothing." When you getting ready for a fight, you probably need to stick to known ingredients that you consume. You don't want to do no herbal nothing. You don't want to do no holistic medicine. You don't want to do any of that stuff because you don't know how it looks in your system. You can eat a Big Mac if you ate the bun on the Big Mac, like the top bun with all them little seeds and shit on it. I think they're poppy seeds or whatever bun that has the poppy seeds. If you eat a lot of poppy seeds, you could pop dirty on the test too. So suffice to say, you as a fighter should be educated on what you can do and what you can't. And when you have a record of 29 wins, zero losses, and 23 KOs, there's no fucking way you can act like you ain't know or you can play the dumb role. No, you cannot. You knew better. You was hoping you ain't get caught. But your ass got caught. So I don't know who they will have on the ready, who Bob got on the ready to step in for him. But this is Bob's fighter, Bob Arum. This is a top ranked fighter. And Bob loses money when shit like this happens. So you best believe Bob don't want to cancel nothing. But I'm sure fighters who are not cheating get tired of fucking with fighters who do. And there's a fighter out there who actually said that sometimes you as the fighter, you can slide VADA or somebody who's taking your test. Like basically saying everybody can be bought. And that's probably true. Everybody can be bought. Maybe. Not some people. I wouldn't agree to everybody, but it is possible because boxing is a racket. It can be. It doesn't have to be. It can be improved upon. Um, we seeing changes right now where they're trying to improve upon the boxing, like what the WBA doing with the belts and all that stuff. It can be improved upon. But what do you do with a person who knowingly cheats? I don't know. String them up by their nuts? I don't know. What do you do? And the reason why I'm so serious about that, And I said that last statement. The reason why I said that is because boxing is not something you play. You do. I repeat, boxing is not something you play. You do. It's the only sport you cannot play. You have to do. And you can lose your life in there. You can become like a paraplegic or somebody who need medical assistance 24/7, after coming out of a hard fight. You can get concussion and never be the same. You don't play boxing. And when you do banned substance and you do all this cheating, guess what? You're taking somebody else's life literally in your hands and deciding whether they live or die. That's the only way for me to look at it. You, at that point, are playing God because you literally are when you're trying to cheat. Because we already know the dangers in boxing without cheating. Now you're going to cheat, throw that on top as if that doesn't matter. It does matter. And it matters in a big way. So, like I said, they still got to test his B sample. And vitamin, just so we clear, it helps you with weight loss. This is why people take it. But in the process of you losing weight, you also gain stamina and energy. It's them the two main ingredients you need in your arsenal to even get through a fight. Otherwise, if you don't have stamina and energy, you're gonna lose the fight every time. So when you take a substance that increases that for yourself, it's just bad. It's bad. It's not fair it's not fair to the fans, and we as fans should never accept that. I don't care what they say. We should never accept that. So that's what he did. And Victor Conti is on his ass. He's the founder of Balco, and he was explaining what fentanyl is or isn't. And he basically said, I don't care what you say, a lie though. I'm putting my stank on it. I don't care what you say, a lie though. Fentanyl is not an herbal tea. Try again. That's basically what Victor Conte is saying. His name sounds familiar, and I want to say it's synonymous with snack. I don't know. I don't know, but that name sounds familiar. But he's the founder of Balco. I didn't look up what Balco was, but he's somebody of note to be sure. And he knows for a fact that you can't get fentanyl without a prescription. He knows that, so he's not taking no goddamn excuses. It also helps you, in addition to helping you with stamina and energy, it also helps you to train harder. Hint, hint. So now you can train, harder in the area that you probably was weak in, and of course master it or whatever. It's just it's things to add to your arsenal. You can't beat somebody fair and square with whatever God gave you. After a certain amount of time, you don't grow no more. So that growth hormones, a lot of people love to take those because it makes you kind of like a kid. Energy, stamina, and everything. Weight loss. Remember I told you, it's two ways to lose a fight. You can lose it on a scale. That's the first part of the fight. The actual fight is in the ring, but the first part of the fight is on the scale. If you can't make weight, what the fuck do anybody need to rely on you? You're unreliable. At that point, your credibility is shot. Now, even though I like David Benavidez, I worry about that with him. His credibility is kind of shot when it comes to weight, making weight. He know he should be a bigger person than 168, but that's what he fight at, and he has to make that weight before his fight, and as do any other person. This is one of the reasons why I don't say nothing against Jake Paul, but this is why I say he's not a real fighter. If you ask Jake Paul right now, what's your weight class? He would be like humming, 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 humming. He would really have to think about it because he don't want to lock down on it. He don't really have a weight class. That's why you're not a real fighter, Jake Paul. I say that with all sincerity. I'm not picking on you, but you can. I don't even know your weight class. If you fought dudes that weigh what you weigh, I guarantee you would quit boxing the next day. But all of these things are factors in why you don't do this and why you don't do that. As far as Oscar Valdez go, I'm not gonna be checking for him other than the fact I want to see him held accountable. That's all we want. We want fairness in this boxing, and we want to see you be held accountable. And whatever comes with your punishment or whatever they want to do, then you need to suck it up and take it. Because what you were trying to do is so criminal on his face that you lucky if they just all they do is suspend you, which I suspect will all happen. But maybe you should be suspended for a year because you knew better. You can't feign ignorance because you're 29 and 0. Can't feign ignorance. You know better. So I'm gonna be interested in to find out what goes on with that, and I'll be following that. But I'm gonna move on. So of note, just a side note. So your Danish Uga said um, he's not interested in a Porter rematch. It's like Sean is not a priority to him. He don't care about the fact that he lost. He said he looked back on the four fights that he lost, and he can see that he's a better fighter, a better man than he was then. He's not looking to avenge any loss or anything. He's cool with it. He's gonna move forward. All he want is the big dogs. That's all he want. He ain't checking back for the little dogs, the little chihuahuas. He want the Rottweilers. He want the pit bulls. That's what he want. He don't want them little guys. So he's interested in a rematch with Pacquiao, though, and that's interesting. He really do want the Pacquiao rematch. So it ain't just Pacquiao. He wants it because he probably feel like I can train for him. If I beat him without training for him, then what will happen if I train for him in a camp and beat him? He's looking at it like that. I'm looking at it like, dude, you taking a risk. Move on. Pacquiao has got to learn how to take a loss and move on, keep it pushing. He's not going to ever learn that lesson if people keep jumping in trying to save him. So, I mean, but Jordanus wants that as well. He wants it just as bad as Pacquiao. So whatever he wants, he the champ. I guess we're gonna take the ride with him. And he said Pacquiao retired. Next on this list is Spence. So again, he ain't reaching back for the small fish. He reaching for the big fish. And that's actually a good thing. That's actually a good thing. So I'll take the ride with him. I'll make sure I'll buy his pay-per-view if those people he fight. If he not fighting Pac, Spence, or um, Crawford, I hope it be a free event. He's your Danish is a good fighter, but to me, he's not pay-per-view just yet. Just yet, give him time. So I saw that in the article, and I was like, oh well, I'll bring it up on my show. So moving on. So Arislani Laura, I don't have a lot of content as far as many boxers that I'm talking about. It's not gonna be a long show today, but Iris Landy Laura vacates his WBA regular 154 title. He vacates the WBA regular 154 title, and he kept his 160 WBA title. And he did all this in the hopes of fighting Ryoto Murata, who I think is a WBA super champion. Now, the WBA has made moves as they promised to get rid of the regular belts and the interim belts. So I think when they stripping these people of these belts, they're not giving them back. The WBA also seemed to be, I'm saying seemed to be, um, on this notion of we don't want uh we don't want you bebopping around different weight classes. Pick a class, stay with it, finish the job, and then move forward. Which I can't be mad at because I said the same thing. I don't want the Tank Davis of the world bebopping around or other people. Mikey Garcia. It's boring. You know, start some and finish it. So we know what we looking at. So we know what we got. That way we know if we want to invest in your career or not as paying fans. But I didn't even know that Iris Landy had a regular belt at 154 or the 160. But he chose 160. Do y'all know why? Easy. Because 160 is a more lucrative weight class than 154. The higher you go up in weight classes, the more money you can make. Not all, like cruiserweights and sometimes light heavyweights, they don't make a lot of money. I don't think. You know, they good to be put on the undercard. There's nobody who stands out to me in those weight classes. But heavyweight for sure. Uh, welterweight, maybe even junior welterweight, maybe even 135. The lower you go, you have to be a standout performer for the to rake in that money. So like the Gary Russells of the world, he is a standout performer. So you can't nickel and dime him. But he don't get paid millions neither. But you can't nickel and dime him because he's a lower weight class. You know, Floyd made the welterweight, which is 147 pounds. He made that like a go to weight class for the money. That was Floyd. I ain't gonna say that only Floyd because you had Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberta Duran, and Tommy Hearns, and Hagler, and all those guys before Floyd that paved the way. But Floyd, I do give him credit for uplifting the welterweight division and making it the go-to place for boxing as it is today. Heavyweights never go out of style. For years, we just didn't have a relevant heavyweight. Now we do, and his name is Deontay Wilder. But we haven't had one in a while. We got a couple of heavyweights in America. They're starting to make a comeback now. But you know, you got people holding the belts hostage, like AJ, who's a scaredy cat over there in England, um, who won't fight the best, and just all he want to do is to be able to say, "I held the belts for 3, 4 years. I'm the greatest." No, no, you might as well be a featherweight or something because you are no relevant. You have no relevance. But you know, this are the things that's going on. The WBA is making true to their promise to get rid of a lot of these belts, and it's confusing. A regular belt. So if you get a regular belt in any way, in any sanctioned body belt, are you undisputed? Like this is when it's become a problem because you got people like Teofimo Lopez, and they're saying he's not undisputed. Well, if he's not undisputed, is Josh Taylor just undisputed? Like these are questions you got to ask because they have these belts swinging all over the place, and they need to get rid of them to let go some of the confusion. So Iris Landy got caught up in it. A lot of fighters, a lot of your favorite fighters are going to get caught up in it. He had to make a choice, and he had to make that choice by yesterday, Tuesday, this week. Now, Iris Landy can act like, well, I just want to concentrate on 160. So that's why I gave up my 154. No, no, no. He was dictated. He was dictated to. Look, you better pick one, or we gonna pick one for you. And so he was like, fuck. Go on and give me the 160 because that's where I can make the most money rather than 154. Plus, if he stay down there at 154, one day he gonna be a mandatory for Charlo. He ain't trying to hear that. He not trying to hear that. But you know, the names that's thrown around with Iris Landy Lara is in that weight division in 160. For some reason, he wants Triple G. He wants um Murata, And who was the other one? He was the other one. Those are the top three that people try to anxiously match up. But he's looking for a payday. He's 38 years old, so right now he's dwindling down in his career, and he's actually looking for a payday. And y'all know I don't like Iris Lara, but I'm not gonna lie on nobody because I don't like him. He actually got caught up in this new restructuring of WBA. Um, he is a fundamentally sound fighter from Cuba. I just like I said, when the going get rough, he gets the cheek. Not when the going gets rough, the tough gets going. Remember that? Remember that? It was a song actually by Billy Ocean. Um, but it was on one of those. It was what was it? The Jewel of the Nile. I don't. Let me let me not try to remember because I can't even remember. But y'all probably know the movies. But anyway, I thought he was gonna say when the going get tough. I thought he would be like, "But the tough gets going." But no, with Iris Laura, when the going gets tough, ain't nothing like a dirty tactic that get me through the round. That's him. And for that, I can't stand him. I cannot stand him. He ain't never gonna change. He always been that way. But he knows how to do it where he has plausible deniability. So he picked the 160-pound division for the money. Can't be mad at him for that. Uh, what he hopes for is to make the WBA give him a title shot with Murata straight off the bat. But they're in talks between Murata and Triple G on having them match up. Now, once that is over, it'll be a little while because they'll stew in their victory or loss. But if the fight doesn't happen or materializes, then Lara fully expects to get WBA to order them to fight. Now here's the thing: what I'm learning from just reading his information. Apparently, you as a fighter can petition people uh, to order fights and get the ball rolling on your behalf. Every fighter needs to know that because a lot of fighters sit around and act like I don't know if they're scared or they waiting for somebody else. Don't wait on nobody. It's your career. Do what you know is best. Learn how to talk business, know how to put your business mind on, learn how to talk, put your business voice on, and get in there and advocate for yourself. You're your best advocate. Now, if Laura, somebody who still don't know how to speak English, and I doubt that because he been living in America forever, he just chooses not to. How rude! Sorry, that's rude. The bulk of your patrons are English speaking people. So why the fuck you don't learn to speak English? But you live in Texas. You've been here for over a decade. You know how to speak it. Your family do, I bet you. I bet your kids do. You want to know what they saying, right? You know, but you don't want to speak English. And you want the red carpet? It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. But he know what the money. He know how to speak numbers. He said he don't have to know how to speak English. He know how to speak numbers. He know how to count. He know how to do percentages. That's all that matters, right? Well, if the fight falls through between Triple G and Murata, then Laura might have a shot, and he's petitioning. He making them work for him. That's the moral of the story. He's advocating for himself. He's making them work for him. Obviously, this motherfucker know how to speak English because he's doing a lot of stuff that we advocate and advise y'all pro fighters to do. He's out there advocating for himself and pushing himself forward. He's not waiting for nobody. This dude have not stopped fighting really since he burst on the scene over a decade ago and been a champion here and there. He will probably go into the Hall of Fame. And the piece of his song, he actually beat Canelo and fair and square. So that's what he doing. That's what's on his mind. So y'all fighters can go to the sanction bodies, especially the WBA, now that they're restructuring, and basically demand fairness and ask for, um, petition for a fight or something. Where or if they say, oh well, these two fighters over here are fighting, we can't get that fight. Okay, I want next. Make it happen. Don't wait on your promoter or not even your manager to go do what you can do yourself, and don't sell yourself short. And that's about all that I had today. I do want to bring up a fighter named Lionel Thompson. And I want y'all to look this fighter up. He beat Uskatiki easily, easily outboxed him. And this man is the man that when we were talking about, we didn't agree with fighters getting paid bullshit ass pay. He was one of them people that got that bullshit ass pay from TMT, no doubt. So, and not talking bad about Floyd, love Floyd to death, but that was wrong. Leonard Ellaby or Floyd. I don't know if Floyd would have knew that, but that was wrong. And everybody said, "Oh, he's a grown man. He should. He signed a contract. He knew better." It's not that simple, y'all. It's not that simple. Sometimes you got to take an opportunity when it presents itself. So I think when he took that fight, I don't think he even knew the particulars till the day he signed on the dotted line, and it was like fight time, go. You know what I'm saying? But he took a chance. Uskatiki is a big name. That would have been a step up, and he handily beat him. So he did that for the opportunity, for the exposure. Now, him getting paid that little bit of money has nothing to do with the price he of China of where he signed his contract. We talking about the fact that somebody as rich as Floyd Mayweather or his promotional company. Why would you pay somebody 7,500? I don't care who they are. Why would you do that? I mean, again, some people 7,500 don't even cover 1 month's bills. Some people 7,500 covers like 2 months worth of bills. It ain't shit. How you gonna live off it? But somehow or another, this man supposed to stay healthy, keep training, be there for you when you need him, come in on short notice, get medical treatment if needed. He's supposed to somehow magically do all this shit. Or do they tell him, man, look, get you a girlfriend and make her pay for this shit? What? So shout outs to Lionel Thompson. I probably talk about him every time I broadcast because I want him to have a chance. To anybody who come across my channel, like Deontay Wilder made or Earl Spence made, y'all check on the brother. See what you can do. He ain't asking for a handout. He asking to be treated fairly. And one day I want to have him on my show, and we could chop it up and see how good he doing. He's telling the truth, and he shouldn't be penalized for that neither, because it is his life story. If he gets beat in the head and get concussed or become like a paraplegic, who's gonna be there for him? Who can he call? He has to speak up for himself. He has to, and he's tired of watching uh, everything pass him by. He's getting older and older. Boxing is one of them sports that you only got a shelf life for a short time, and that short time can move quick. Just as you reaching your pinnacle, you come down, and that's how it is. So y'all look out for Lionel B. And like I said, I'm gonna try to do something where I can play something about him every time that I come on. And this is another little note. I'm giving y'all little nuggets here. So my homegirl was telling me about, and this has nothing to do with boxing, but she was telling me about that junk mail you think is junk mail, that you should open it. You should open all your junk mail because sometimes there might be a little nugget in there, like a check for $20,000 or something. I know y'all can say that's crazy, but here's what she meant. So sometimes you could be There can be a class action suit against your cable company. You don't know shit about it, but they will send you correspondence letting you know that there's a class action suit going down with your cable company. Why? Because you're on a distro list. You have cable through them. Then they will send you the results of that um, what is it? Class action suit. I don't know why I got caught up. They will send you the results of it. And they send it through junk mail, people. That's how they get over. You got 90 days to cash a check if you got awarded anything. But what do people do when we get junk mail? We tear it up and throw it away. I've done it all the time. And what she's saying is most of the time that could have been paper in there for you, some money. Because you don't know when people are suing entities that you're involved with. If you're involved with them or you're on their distro list, meaning you subscribe to them in any kind of way, you're paying for services in any kind of way, you're included automatically in that class action suit. And when that suit is won, you get a little check. So from this day forward, I'm going through all my junk mail. Like that mail that come through to be about State Farm or Allstate or something, they trying to get you to get with them. They won't have a return address at the left hand corner, and they'll just have your name. And you be like, "What is this mail about?" There's nothing official looking about this mail, but open it anyway and see what's inside. It might be a check. Americans throw away money owed to them all year long, every year. Americans do not claim money that's owed to them all year long and every year. So when you know better, you do better. That is I was surprised to hear that. You best believe going forward, I will be checking all my mail. Whether it looks prevalent or not, I'm checking everything. I'm checking up under the mail. Hell, I might be checking up under the mailbox. But shout out to my friend Lisa with the info. Thank you for letting me know. And I put that out there for the world to know because she and I are just like that. Like if we have information, we share it. Because it's no sense in both of us falling into a pitfall. If I learn something, I'll tell her, I'll tell all my friends. Because I'll be like, look, I fell in this hole, so you don't have to. And this vice versa. Look, T, look, do it this way. No, don't do it that way. Look, this I did it that way, and this is what it did to me. Then that's helping me out. And that's what we all should be about. When you know better, you do better, right? So I would like to end that right there. Peace. See y'all tomorrow.